Hey, Newcastle fans, hold tight, because today we've got a story that's going to shake everyone who loves our club and follows the former players who made history at St. James Park. You won't believe the honesty from Craig Bellamy in his latest post-match speech. And yes, he didn't hold back. I'm Rodrigo, and you're watching Newcastle Mania, the channel made by fans, for fans, who live and breathe Newcastle United. You blinked, and suddenly Newcastle is headline news everywhere. Today we're talking about one of our most fiery former players, who's back showing his explosive personality. But before we get to the main story, we've got other important football news you need to know. But first, just a quick word. Remember those Chelsea fans who said this channel wasn't growing because our support was too small? Well, they are starting to get quiet, because our numbers are growing. So, if you love Newcastle and want to shut them up once and for all, hit that subscribe button right now. It costs nothing, but it sends a message. Let's hit 1,000 subscribers together and show them what the Black and White Army is all about. Now, Newcastle fans, get ready to see the real face of Craig Bellamy. The former Newcastle striker, who made his mark alongside Alan Shearer, gave a post-match speech no one will forget. And he wasn't talking about just any friendly. He was showing his competitive spirit, his frustration, and, of course, sending a direct message to another coach, Jesse Marsh of Canada. Bellamy, now 46, has taken charge of the Wales national team, and even as a coach, he hasn't lost an ounce of the intensity we all remember from his playing days. After a 1-0 defeat to Canada, he held nothing back and spoke straight and without sugarcoating. He said, "I still wanted to win. Believe me. Honestly, I'm not happy because I hate losing more than I love winning." That line says it all about what drives Bellamy: passion, competitiveness, and a refusal to accept unsatisfactory results. He made it clear that for him, a loss isn't just a number on the table. It's a matter of principles, pride, and commitment to his team. And then comes the most controversial moment everyone's talking about. He looked directly at Jesse Marsh, Canada's coach, who was celebrating the result, and said, "I hope to see you at the World Cup. I hope to see you again." On the surface, it sounds simple, but there's a lot packed into that. First, it's a direct message to his opponent. Bellamy wants a rematch. He wants to test himself again, and he hasn't swallowed the defeat. Second, it reveals his personality: competitive, intense, and unfiltered, just like back in the St. James Park days. So, even after hanging up his boots and becoming a coach, the fire he had as a player is still burning. The difference now is that he channeled that intensity to the whole team, to the opponents, and to the fans, showing that competitiveness doesn't fade with age or change of role. Bellamy isn't just lamenting a loss. He's teaching, challenging, and showing everyone that in football, mentality makes all the difference. And if you're a Newcastle fan, you know exactly what I mean. It's the same spirit he carried running around St. James Park, making the fans cheer with every move. The reaction has been massive. Media across the UK highlighted every word of Bellamy's speech. Sky Sports, the BBC, national newspapers, and sports channels couldn't stop talking about the former player's intensity and honesty. There were tactical analyses, discussions about his competitive mindset, and even comparisons with other coaches and ex-players who made history. On social media, the conversation exploded. Newcastle fans were split. Some admired Bellamy's courage and honesty. Others reflected on his blunt and sometimes controversial style. Many fans took the chance to reminisce about the old days at St. James Park, when Bellamy ran tirelessly in attack, fought for every ball, and defended our club's colors with tooth and nail. Anyone who supported the team back then knows. He was more than a player. He was a symbol of passion and grit. And the most interesting part, his influence goes beyond the pitch. Seeing a former player of Bellamy's magnitude still showing that intensity and frankness inspires not just fans, but also young athletes and football professionals. For many, he's become an example of how mentality and character can sometimes outweigh pure skill in crucial moments. Newcastle fans' reactions were intense, too. Forums, WhatsApp groups, Twitter, and Instagram were buzzing with debates. Some praising his bravery to speak his mind, others noting how a competitive attitude could set an example for the next generation. Moments like this remind us why we love this club so much. It's not just football, it's emotion, its personality, It's black and white pride. And here's a reflection. Shouldn't more players have this attitude, this honesty, and this commitment to the game and the club, even years after hanging up their boots? Bellamy made it clear that passion and competitiveness don't expire, and the reaction shows nobody missed that message. To really understand what's going on, we need to take a step back and look at Craig Bellamy's journey. He wasn't just about pace, goals, and runs down the wing. Bellamy has always been synonymous with intensity, personality, and limitless competitiveness. At Newcastle, he wasn't just a player. He was a force of nature on the pitch. He formed a legendary partnership with Alan Shearer, playing a key role under Sir Bobby Robson, leaving a mark that fans still remember today. Every run, every challenge, every goal showed that he lived football with soul and heart. And that mindset didn't stay behind when he hung up his boots. As a coach, Bellamy started at Cardiff City, then went on to Anderlecht and Burnley, always bringing his intensity and will to win. Now, leading Wales, he's already picked up 6 wins in 12 games and has a team well positioned for the World Cup. But the recent defeat to Canada made one thing clear. Bellamy still hates losing as much as he loved winning. He won't accept mediocrity, on the pitch or off it. Now, let's talk behind the scenes. When you see a former player with this kind of history facing defeat, it's not just a moment of sadness. It's a test of character and leadership. The honesty with which he expresses his emotions, looking directly at Jesse Marsh and commenting on Canada's victory, tells us a lot about how Bellamy sees football as a battle that demands respect, dedication, and total commitment. He keeps alive the competitive spirit that defined his playing career and shows that intensity carries over into his role as a manager. Compared to other clubs and managers, it's not completely unusual to see former competitive players showing passion and honesty. But Bellamy has something different. He doesn't hold back, he doesn't hide his feelings, and he shows everyone that he still carries a fire that made him famous. This combination of history, experience, leadership, and authenticity creates a fascinating picture for any fan to watch. So, fans, what we're seeing behind the scenes goes far beyond a simple defeat. It's proof that certain players, and now managers, keep shaping football with personality, courage, and a will to win that never ages. Bellamy is, without a doubt, an example of how intensity, honesty, and passion can influence both a team and its supporters, leaving lessons that go far beyond the scoreline. What stands out here is that Bellamy didn't just criticize the defeat. He analyzed the opponent's coach, the team's attitude, and made it clear that his focus on improvement. He highlighted a competitive spirit that took him to clubs like Liverpool, Man City, Celtic, and of course, Newcastle. The message is clear. He wants to see competitive football, real confrontations, and he doesn't mind showing exactly what he thinks to everyone. This kind of attitude is rare and shows the legacy he carries from his Magpie days. Look, fans, this has happened before in English and European football. Strong personalities, whether players or managers, can spark controversy, but clubs that understand and channel that intensity get results. In Newcastle's case, Bellamy is an example of what passion and commitment mean, and how these values shape a club and the mindset of everyone involved. So, what does this make us think? First, Bellamy shows that competitiveness has no age. From player to coach, the focus is always on winning. Second, for Wales, it's a warning. The manager's intensity is high, and they need to be ready. And for us, Newcastle fans, it's a reminder of how love for the club and the game can leave a mark for generations. Fans, the message is clear. Passion, competitiveness, and honesty don't expire. Bellamy shows us that even off St. James Park, the spirit of Newcastle lives within him. Every goal, every challenge, every statement is about love for football and commitment to winning. So that's it. Fans, Craig Bellamy showing his true colors, Wales in action, and our former Magpies passion still lighting a fire in all of us. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, share it with your mates, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Let's hit that 1,000 subscriber mark and show everyone the strength of Newcastle's fan base. This is Newcastle Mania, the channel for passionate supporters. See you next time.